and welcome to Auto Shenanigans. How the devil are you? Have you had a good week? My name is John. Thank you very much for joining me for another exciting episode of Secrets of the Motorway. Over the course of the series, we've heard time and time again of early road building plans and schemes that mostly got cancelled, usually leaving some sort of oddity behind for us to take a look at. Well, this week I've come to Newcastle upon Tyne, where we find perhaps the best example of a cancelled road project. I've come to look at the A167M, a 1.2 mile long inner city motorway that was conceived after a night on shrooms. It all began in the 1950s when Newcastle City Council devised a development plan that involved the construction of several roads and motorways around the city. A familiar story that we've heard before, but there is a twist. Nothing would happen until the mid-1960s, at which point the plan was reviewed and tweaked a bit before being put into action. The plan looked a bit like this, and as always it was imaginative and extensive, but no cancellations were made at this stage, so they got to work on constructing the first part of this mental motorway. The twist in the story is that in 1974, following some bureaucratic changes within government and councils, the then Newcastle City Council were relieved of their duties to be replaced with the new Tyne and Wear County Council. The new County Council decided to take a look at what their predecessor had achieved so far with the road building project, and to their surprise the previous council had buggered it up royally. In short, they were massively behind schedule, and the preparation works for the next stage of construction had barely even started. To make matters worse, the government realigned some of their funding, reducing the amount that Tyne and Wear Council had to play with, leaving them with a choice: either complete the road project as planned, using up every last bit of cash, or cancel the remainder of the project and use the funds to invest in a decent metro system. They went with a metro system. It's pretty good, to be fair. So the A167M is effectively one of only a few pieces of that extensive project that ended up being completed, although along its short length we do find several reminders of what was supposed to be a far grander scheme. It opened in 1975 and initially was numbered as the A1M, but when the A1 was rerouted, this would change to the A6127M in 1977. The A1M was then rerouted once again in 1990, so the A6127M became the A167M, which it still is. Like all good inner city motorways, there are no junction numbers and stuff just happens. We'll be starting at the northern end of the A167M at the town more Junction, where we find some stubs of carriageway that suggest there should have been more road. Going back to those early motorway plans, we can see that at the junction there was supposed to be a large flyover with sliproads to suit. The B1318 was going to be a motorway, meaning this junction would have been a motorway to motorway interchange, but it was never finished. Heading away from the junction, and the motorway presents a very unique feature. It's a double-decked motorway that runs for about half a mile. If you're heading southbound, you'll be going underground, whilst the northbound carriageway runs above you. We quickly arrive at the next junction, known as the Jesmond Road Junction, where we find another stub that tells us we're missing some road. Indeed we are. This would have been a slip road that connected to what was referred to as the Central Motorway East Bypass. This shows you just how mental that original road building plan was. What you need for your motorway is a motorway bypass to run alongside. Earlier I mentioned at the Townmoor Junction there would have been a large flyover going over the top. This would have marked the start of our motorway bypass. The theory was that at each of these A167M junctions you'd be able to hop on or off this bypass, making for a quicker route in or out of Newcastle. At the Jesmond Road Junction we find the A1058 and a secret motorway that exists due to a technicality. The A1058 was going to be a motorway, but that never made it past the ideas stage. However, there is one small section that can claim to be a motorway, and it's the entry and slip roads to the A167M. These bits of road have to be under motorway regulation since they connect directly to another motorway, meaning it could have been called the A105M, but officially it's just known as the A1058. If you're heading southbound, you'll emerge from under the northbound carriageway by Camden Street, and it's here that we find a closed slip road. It would have allowed access when heading northbound as well as to the A1058. Why is it closed, I hear you ask? Because it's f***ing stupid. Let's examine why. If you drive up this slip road looking to join the A1058, you'll need the right-hand lane and you'll head up this way, no problem. However, it's a very different situation should you want to join the A167M northbound. Here you have to join the motorway at a point where there's also an exit, meaning two lanes cross over one another, and it doesn't take a genius to work out that that's a terrible idea that over the years has led to several accidents and near misses. The council decided enough was enough in around 2009, closing the slip road to all traffic. Put simply, it was just too dangerous, not something they cared about in the 1960s. Just before the Newbridge Street Junction, the motorway passes underneath a new bridge. Well, I say new, it was installed in 2008 to offer pedestrian access between the two Northumbria University campuses, and the Junction is named after Newbridge Street rather than a new bridge. The junction itself is certainly squeezed in, yet somehow the original plans were for there to be a flyover carrying a motorway. You'll notice space between the A193 carriageways that was left for the installation of this motorway, and it also explains why the A193 has a bit of an odd shape around the roundabout. The next junction arrives immediately, to the point where it creates a dangerous merge point for traffic. The motorway has got a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit, but it's still quite a tense scenario when you want to join or exit the motorway. If you were to take the exit for the next junction, you'll pass alongside the Manor's multi-storey car park. Originally, there was the idea of building car parks with direct access to and from the motorway, much like the Woodhouse Lane car park on the A50-A10, but they decided against it. What we do have, though, is a curve-to-fit car park in an area that just shouts 1960s concrete. The motorway disappears into a tunnel before coming to an end just after the junction, where you'll transition seamlessly onto the A167. After that, there's nothing to see. No famous structures or anything that's instantly recognisable as a Newcastle-based landmark. Nothing at all. Only joking. You can't come all the way to Newcastle and not take a look at the city's most famous piece of architecture, the Biker Grove Youth Club building. And there we are then, guys. That's all we've got time for this week. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did, there is, of course, a button specifically for that. And if you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. That would be wicked sweet. Awesome. Enjoy the rest of your week, whatever it is you get up to. My name's John. You've been watching Auto Shenanigans, and I'll see you guys next time for another exciting episode of Secrets of the Motorway. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.